Alright, here we're going to be talking about Kuang, the Dragon King of the Eastern Seas from the Chinese pantheon. Interesting thing about him, Kuang was actually a different god entirely in his first iteration in Smite. That god, due to lore issues, was changed into what is now known as Kukulkan. We'll get into him later. This was the new Kuang that they released a few months after they removed the original one from the game and replaced him with a Kukulkan. This one is a mage as well as was the old one, but this one works completely different. I will get into that as we go through. So now, base statistics here. Health, he is more as an assassin while being a mage, if that makes sense. So his stats are more akin to assassins, but he's still got the damage of a mage. So now health starts with 400 plus 74 per level. Mana 200 plus 36. Speed, one of the fastest mages in the game, 375. Few mages get that close. He's very fast. Attack speed is very high, and I'll get into that in a second. Magical defense, standard with mages, 30 dozen scale. Physical, 12 plus 3 per level. Now, this, progression. I have not had a single god so far, this is the first, where progression was a thing. So now, his progression is a 1.5.5 1 times damage, which means his first swing, he'll do his normal basic damage. His next two, he'll do half. And the fourth one, he'll do full again. And so, it means he'll be hitting you 4 times, and that's because his attack speed, he swings his normal speed, then half speed the next 3, which means he'll attack very, 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 very fast. I can't stress to you how many varies that was, but he's a very quick attacker, especially with this gain of attack speed rivaling hunters. He's a melee god, rare for mages, only 2 have that, and it's because of the way he works. He's more an assassin than he is a mage, but he is a mage assassin. That's what he is. So now, moving into his abilities here, his passive is called King's Sword. His sword will hold up to 3 energy charges and will regenerate these charges while out of combat. And each time he casts an ability, he will consume a charge and do extra damage with that ability. And additionally, if he's out of mana, he can use the charges to cast abilities instead. So now, the charges will add 5% damage when he uses them, and will regenerate for 5 seconds after he exits combat. They'll each take 5 seconds. So it takes a little bit of time, 15 seconds once he's out of combat, which may or may not happen all the time, but it's a decent passive, not great. First ability, Water Illusion. Kuang will do a little blink forward into stealth, and it'll leave behind a watery form. He can remain in stealth for 5 seconds or until he attacks or takes damage. And activating this ability again will remove him from stealth and detonate the water clone, which will deal damage to nearby enemies. So now, damage 90 to 290, 50 per level, plus 70% of his magical power. Cost 70 mana, all ranks. Cooldown 15 seconds at all ranks. Decent ability, gets an escape. It's okay. The second ability, this is one of his main abilities, Dragon Call. This has a lot to it, so bear with me. Kuang will summon 6 dragons. Each basic attacks that he makes, I should say, a dragon will launch at the target and deal additional damage. The ability ends after 10 seconds or after every single dragon is consumed. Then he can activate the ability again after calling the dragons to throw all remaining ones forward. They'll do damage and slow the first enemy that they hit. This includes minions, turrets, Loki's decoy. I'll get into that later. But it will stop at the first enemy, and slow them and damage them. So now this attack damage here is the extra damage they do when you use a basic attack. 30 up to 90, 15 per level, 30% of your magical power each time he hits. This is not all dragons, this is each dragon. So if you hit all 6 on one target, that's 540 damage. It's a lot of damage if you hit, in addition to his basic attack damage. The dragons are also delayed, so they can still hit anyone who tries to escape, like a Loki who uses his ultimate, it will still hit him. Someone who launches into the air and becomes immune to damage, it will still hit them after they land. They're really good. They're auto-target after he hits them. Now the range damage is the damage he does when he throws all the dragons. So do 15 up to 35, 5 per level, 15% of your magical power per remaining dragon. So it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's more there for this slow. 30% for 1 second, plus 0.25 seconds for each remaining dragon that he has. So you can get up to an extra 1.5 seconds if he uses all 6 dragons. And the range damage, nothing great. 210 with 6 dragons. It's not great, but it's more there for this slow if you use it, or the massive damage attack damage does. So now cooldown 15 seconds down to 11. Cost 60 up to 80. Pretty standard. Pretty good ability. Really good ability. Now here's his third ability, Wild Storm. Kuang will shoot lightning in a cone in front of him out from his sword, dealing damage to any enemy in front of him. The unique thing about this is that this hit is considered a basic attack, which means it will activate any item effects that trigger off basic attacks, and every enemy will get a dragon thrown at them if you have Dragon Call up when you use this, so it can lead to a lot of burst. Damage 90 up to 290, 50 per level, plus 50% of your magical power. Cooldown, very low cooldown, 5 seconds only. And cost 60 to 80. So very good ability, short range, but you're playing a short range god. Now, his ultimate, very unique ultimate he's got here. King of the Eastern Seas. Kuang will lunge forward at a target that he selects in front of him, dealing damage and knocking them into the air. Now, if they're under a certain health threshold, Kuang will instead send them into the air, eat them, revealing his true dragon form. And he will execute them, instantly killing them. Doesn't matter if they're a tank, and that 35% means, they have a lot more health than this ability would normally do. He'll still kill them. Doesn't matter. Now, after he executes, he will remain in the air as a dragon and pick a new location to land. He'll deal damage to enemies who are within the radius, and he'll fully recharge his passive. So, lot there. So damage, 90 up to 290, plus 50. Not really used for the damage, more for the execute. 50% magical power. The execute threshold goes from 23% to 35%, 3% per level. So the more you level this up, the higher the threshold is for you to execute. So the less failures you'll have with executing. So now, landing damage. 100 to 300, 50 per level, plus 50% of your magical power. Again, not really used for damage, it's just there. This landing is very long range, so you can get out pretty quickly if you use this as an escape, if you can execute someone. If you don't, bleh. Cooldown, 90 seconds, standard for an ultimate. Cost 90 up to 130. So now, let's go into leveling with him. It's kind of debatable what you take first, Dragon Call or Wildstorm. Wildstorm's decent for camp clear. Dragon Call's also really good because of camp clear. Both are great. You can do both. Second, you definitely want to get the one that you didn't get. These are your two main damaging abilities. You want them both at all times. Very good. Now, level 3, you level up Dragon Call. Dragon Call is your most damaging ability. It's one of the easiest abilities you're going to land. devastating in the early game. It'll destroy people, it'll shred people. It's really good. Now, at level 4, you get Water Illusion. This is the escape that Kuang has. It's not really used for damage, more so for that escape, so that's why you don't take it into level 4. Of course, if you're getting hit early, you definitely want to take this early just so that you can get away. But normally, best case scenario, you don't take it to level 4. At level 5, you want to take the ult. If you're This is really good because it will give you your kill potential. And that means you can easily take someone out. And allows you to be a more dangerous threat. Before then, you don't really have kill potential. Once you get this, high kill potential. Just something to know with King of the Eastern Seas. It's very awkward ability. It can be really good or completely awful. And what I mean by the completely awful, if you beads after he grabs you, you'll get out. And it will waste his ultimate. If someone dies in your grasp, it may or may not waste the ultimate depending on how far you were into it. But you can get your kills stolen and just waste your ultimate. Worst feeling. Or someone can just regain their health while they're in your grasp, and you'll just throw them up. You won't get the execute. That's also really sad. So very finicky ult. Level 6 and level 7, you want Dragon Call, more damage. Level 8, Wild Storm. Now, level 9, you can go one of two directions. You either get the last level of Dragon Call, or you upgrade King of the Eastern Seas. I say get Dragon Call if you're behind, or no, if you're ahead, get Dragon Call. It's more reliable damage. If you're behind, get King of the Eastern Seas so you can take someone out and get back into the game. But you definitely want Dragon Call first over your ult because your ult's so finicky and you're more using it for an execute. Dragon Call is just going to help you kill someone faster and get them into that threshold much easier. Now, level 10, what I like doing is getting another level of Wildstorm and getting Wildstorm up to its max rank before leveling up my ult. So, Wildstorm, once again, is a very good ability, very consistent damage, low cooldown. You'll hit people with Dragon Call mixed in. You'll do a lot of damage. It's really good. Its mana cost isn't hurtful too much, and it's more reliable than the ult. Again, if you're behind, take the ult point whenever you can. You're gonna need it. You need to get back into the game. But if you're ahead or even, you want Wildstorm, more confirmable damage, better for you for killing. Now, if you go the route of getting Wildstorm up to level 5, you put the next 2 points into your ult. No reason to get Water Illusion. You're not using it for damage. It doesn't offer anything. There's no shorter cooldown. There's no reason to level up until you have to, because no one who's paying attention is going to be hit by your decoy. But King of the Eastern Seas, after you get Wildstorm, you need to take it. It's just better. Now, after that, you put the points in Water Illusion when you have to, put the point into your ult when you have to. Just keep doing that there, and then you'll be done leveling. You'll have your full abilities, and you'll start going on rampages. Hopefully, maybe not, unfortunately, but it's pretty good. So now, moving in recommended items. So, if you're jungling, which is the best role for Kuang, you want Bumba's Mask. I guess this is the first jungler I've done as well. But Bumba's Mask will allow you to get mana every few seconds, keeps your sustain a little bit up, and every time you kill a jungle minion or a jungle minion near you dies by your teammates' hands, you'll gain a little bit of health back, and you'll get all the gold from the jungle camp. No matter if you last hit it or anything, you'll get full gold. So it's really good since you're going to be restricted to the jungle. That's where most of your farm's coming from. It's where your safe farm's coming from. Then the other stardom, you can get either level 1 or level 2 Hand of the Gods. This will let you do 480 true damage to any minion. And minions, and now early game jungle camps, you're not necessarily going to win fights against those guys. They do a lot of damage to an early game god. You don't have your damage up. Hand of the Gods just lets you clear those camps, be a little bit safer. So now I did mention there were two options with that: level 1 or level 2. Level 1 has a 90-second cooldown. Level 2 has a 60-second cooldown. Now, if you get level 2, you get health potion, mana potion. You're done. If you get level 1, you also get level 1 of boots with the 2 potions. Since you're not using that 300 gold anyway, you want the boots so that you can move around. You can be a little bit faster. It's just effective gold use. I would prefer getting level 2 Hog because you need to clear faster. Kuang doesn't have great early game damage. He can do a lot of damage in jungle camps. Just faster clear. So then, no matter what you do, you want to finish your boots, get those up and running. You need mobility. This spikes your damage. You definitely want to go Shoes of the Magi. Cooldown doesn't help you a whole lot. You need damage. So now, after that, this item, Telkine's Ring. What Telkine's Ring does is it's a base attack item. It will raise your attack speed, give you magical power, a little bit of magical defense, and a passive. Every time you hit a basic attack, it'll add 40 magical damage, just flat 40. That's reduced by protections and resistance, but it's still an extra 40 damage for a god who's going to be hitting 4 times in in 2 seconds, or even 4 times. Yeah, 4 times in 2 seconds. You're going to be doing a lot of damage with basic attacks, and it adds damage to Wild Storm, to your Dragon Call interaction. Just a really good item. Now, after Telkine's, I like getting Demonic Grip. Lowers protections, you're going to be hitting a ton, and it reduces the enemy's protections. So Telkine's Ring does more, Wild Storm does more, Dragon Call does more. You'll just do more damage to them. And it gives you a good amount of damage, 60, 25% attack speed. You'll just be shredding people at this point. After that, what I like doing is getting Bancroft's Talon. You can go into Chronos Pendant for the cooldown. But Bancroft's offers you lifesteal. You're doing a lot of single target damage, meaning you're getting more lifesteal back by using your abilities and your base attacks. You will not get lifesteal from Telkine's Ring, but you're still getting a lot of lifesteal back by using this item, and 100 damage is nothing to sneeze at. After that, I would go Rada Tahuti, get that 5th item up and running, do a lot of damage now. You're going to be hitting hard with Dragon Call, hitting hard with Wild Storm. Your basic attacks will be doing 100 each time. Well, at least when they hit for max damage. But at half damage, still nothing to sneeze at. You'll be doing a lot of damage. It's your damage spike. It's just all around good. Now after that, this is sort of where you'd get something like Magi's Blessing or Witchblade. And Witchblade will give you a little bit of physical defense if there's a lot of So there's a lot of physical gods who are relying on attack speed. You want to get Witchblade. There's a lot of CC on the enemy team. You need Magi's Blessing just to avoid some of it. Actives, beads. You're probably going to have Hand of the Gods in one slot. You need beads. If you, for some reason, are a solo laner, sprint's a decent idea just so you can get away or get in, depending on what you need. But you definitely want beads. And if you have Hand of the Gods, you want to go Fists for a stun for a god who lacks really any natural CC. Skins, Standard, Golden, Legendary, Diamond, Recolor. Alright, that's it.